Alex stepped out of the bathroom to give Riley some space while he got dressed properly. He could hear her pacing in the hallway, muttering to herself about stupid apps and wrong apartments. When he emerged from his bedroom in jeans and a t-shirt, he found her standing by the front door, staring at her phone like it had personally betrayed her. "So," Alex said, running a hand through his damp hair, "want to show me this mystery app that led you into my shower?" Riley looked up, still red-faced but slightly less panicked than before. "I'm warning you, it's completely broken. I have no idea how it even got me this far without leading me into traffic or something." She handed him her phone, and Alex immediately saw the problem. The screen was a mess of overlapping arrows, blinking dots, and what looked like glitched map data. The app's name at the top read Quick Path Navigator, in letters that seemed to flicker between different fonts. "Where did you even get this?" Alex asked, swiping through the confusing interface. As a software developer, he had seen plenty of buggy apps, but this was next-level broken. "Katie sent me the download link yesterday," Riley explained, watching over his shoulder. "She said regular GPS apps always mess up around here because of all the similar-looking buildings. This was supposed to be some new thing that uses advanced indoor navigation." Alex raised an eyebrow. "Indoor navigation that tells you to walk into random people's bathrooms?" "Apparently so." Riley sank onto his couch without thinking, then immediately jumped back up. "Sorry, I shouldn't just sit down. I've already invaded your space enough for one day." "It's fine," Alex said, gesturing for her to sit back down. "At this point, we might as well figure out what went wrong. I'm actually curious about how this happened." Riley perched on the edge of the couch while Alex continued examining her phone. "The weird thing is, it worked perfectly yesterday when I was testing it at the airport. Took me right to the baggage claim without any problems." "Airports are different," Alex explained, still swiping through the app. "They have detailed indoor mapping systems. Regular apartment buildings? Not so much. This app is probably trying to guess where walls and doors are based on incomplete data." He held up the phone to show her the current display. The arrows were now pointing in completely different directions than they had been a minute ago. "See how it keeps changing? It's not actually reading the building layout. It's just making stuff up as it goes." Riley groaned and buried her face in her hands. "So I trusted a broken app to guide me through a strange building, and it led me straight into your bathroom. This is officially the most embarrassing thing that has ever happened to me." Alex found himself smiling despite the weird situation. There was something endearing about how mortified she was. "Hey, at least you didn't break anything. And you did apologize like 50 times. 51, Riley corrected, looking up with a weak smile. "I apologize 51 times. I counted." "Well, in that case, I think we're good." Alex handed her phone back. "But maybe stick to regular GPS from now on." Riley laughed, and Alex was surprised by how much he liked the sound. "Trust me, I am never trying a new navigation app again. From now on, I'm asking for written directions and drawing maps on napkins if I have to." "So you're visiting Katie?" Alex asked, settling into the chair across from her. "Are you two old friends?" "College roommates," Riley explained, seeming to relax now that they were having a normal conversation. "We kept in touch after graduation, but this is the first time I've visited her new place. She moved here about 6 months ago for work." "What kind of work do you do?" Alex found himself genuinely curious. "Graphic design, mostly freelance stuff. Logos, websites, that sort of thing." "What about you? Besides debugging terrible navigation apps, I mean." Alex chuckled. "Actually, that's pretty close. I'm a software developer. I spend most of my time fixing other people's broken code." "No way," Riley said, leaning forward with interest. "So you could probably tell me exactly why this app is so messed up? Want the technical explanation or the simple version?" "Simple, please. I can barely figure out how to update my phone apps without something going wrong." Alex thought for a moment about how to explain it. Basically, this app is trying to do something really complicated with information it doesn't actually have. It's like asking someone to give you directions to a specific room in a house they've never been inside. They might guess right, but they'll probably send you to the wrong place. And in my case, the wrong place was your bathroom, Riley said with a groan. "Could have been worse. Could have been my bedroom." The moment the words left his mouth, Alex realized how that sounded. Riley's face went red again, and they both looked away awkwardly. "I mean, Alex stammered. "Not that, I didn't mean it like—" "I know what you meant," Riley said quickly, staring at her shoes. They sat in uncomfortable silence for a few seconds before Riley suddenly started laughing. Not just a little giggle, but full-on can't-breathe laughter. "I'm sorry," she gasped between fits of giggles. "It's just, this whole situation is so ridiculous. I walked into a complete stranger's apartment, interrupted his shower, and now we're sitting here having a normal conversation like this happens every day." Her laughter was contagious, and Alex found himself chuckling too. "When you put it like that, it is pretty weird." "Weird doesn't even begin to cover it," Riley said, wiping tears from her eyes. "Katie is never going to believe this story. She's going to think I made the whole thing up." "Speaking of Katie," Alex said, "shouldn't you probably let her know where you are? She's probably wondering why you never showed up." Riley's eyes went wide. "Oh no, you're right. She's probably freaking out." She grabbed her phone and started typing rapidly. "I was supposed to be there 20 minutes ago." While she texted, Alex found himself studying her face. She had nice eyes, he noticed, brown with little gold flecks, and when she smiled, she had this tiny dimple on her left cheek. He caught himself staring and looked away quickly. This was definitely not a normal Tuesday morning. Riley's phone buzzed with a response. "Katie says to come up whenever I'm ready, and she wants to hear all about why I'm running late." She looked up at Alex with a mischievous grin. "Should I tell her the whole truth?" "That's up to you," Alex said. "But if you do tell her, maybe mention that her building's security system needs some work. Your mystery app isn't the only thing that's broken around here." "What do you mean?" Alex walked over to the front door and jiggled the handle. "Chris, my roommate, swore he locked this when he left yesterday, but it opened right up for you. Either he forgot, or something's wrong with the new electronic locks they installed last month." Riley joined him by the door, testing the handle herself. "That's actually kind of scary. What if someone with bad intentions had found the unlocked door instead of just a lost person with a broken app?" "Exactly why I'm going to talk to building management tomorrow," Alex said. This could have been a lot worse than just an embarrassing mix-up. They stood there for a moment, both thinking about the implications. Then Riley's phone buzzed again. "Katie's getting impatient," she said, reading the message. "I should probably head upstairs before she sends out a search party." "Right, of course." Alex felt oddly disappointed that she was leaving. "Let me walk you up there, just to make sure you find the right apartment this time." Riley smiled gratefully. "That would be great. I don't trust myself to navigate even one more floor without professional help." A broken GPS app led her into a stranger's bathroom at 7 a.m. 3 months later, she's still there. Tuesday morning started like any other day for Alex. The alarm went off at 7. He hit snooze twice and finally dragged himself out of bed at 7:30. His roommate Chris had left for a 3-day work conference the night before, which meant Alex had the apartment to himself for the first time in weeks. He shuffled to the kitchen, started the coffee maker, and checked his phone while waiting for it to brew. Nothing important. Just the usual work emails and a text from his mom asking if he was eating enough vegetables. He smiled and typed back a quick lie about having salad for dinner the night before. After downing half a cup of coffee, Alex headed to the bathroom for his morning shower. The hot water felt amazing against his tired muscles. He had stayed up too late again working on a coating project that was due by Friday. The steam filled the small bathroom as he shampooed his hair and tried to wake up properly. That's when he heard it. The front door opening and closing. "Chris, you back already?" Alex called out over the sound of running water. "Thought your conference was until Thursday." No answer. Maybe Chris had forgotten something and was rushing to grab it before heading back to the airport. Alex continued washing, thinking nothing of it. They had been roommates for 2 years now, and Chris was always forgetting important stuff at the last minute. A few minutes later, Alex heard footsteps in the hallway. Then the bathroom door creaked open. "Dude, I'm in here," Alex said, not bothering to look around the shower curtain. "Whatever you need can wait 5 minutes." Still no response. That was weird. Chris usually said something back, even if it was just a grunt of acknowledgement. Alex rinsed the soap from his eyes and was about to call out again when he heard a sharp intake of breath. Not from him. From someone else in the bathroom. His heart stopped for a second. That definitely was not Chris. Slowly, Alex peeked around the edge of the shower curtain, expecting to see his roommate's familiar face. Instead, he found himself staring at a complete stranger. A young woman stood frozen in the doorway, her hand still on the door handle, eyes wide with absolute horror. For a moment, neither of them moved. Neither of them spoke. They just stared at each other in mutual shock. The woman looked to be around his age, maybe 25 or 26. She had dark hair pulled back in a messy bun and was wearing jeans and a bright yellow hoodie that looked like it had seen better days. In her other hand, she clutched a smartphone with a cracked screen. Alex quickly ducked back behind the shower curtain, his face burning with embarrassment. His mind raced. Who was this person? How did she get into his apartment? Was she dangerous? Should he be scared? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, the woman muttered, her voice shaking. This is not happening. This cannot be happening right now. Alex could hear her footsteps backing away from the door, but she did not leave the bathroom entirely. He grabbed the shower curtain tighter, making sure he was completely covered. Excuse me? Alex called out, trying to keep his voice steady. Who are you, and how did you get in here? I am so sorry, came the reply, muffled and panicked. I thought this was... the app said. Oh no, this is terrible. Alex quickly turned off the water and reached for his towel, wrapping it around his waist before stepping out of the shower. The woman had moved to the far corner of the bathroom, covering her eyes with her free hand. Look, I don't know what's going on here, Alex said, grabbing his robe from the hook behind the door. But you need to explain how you got into my apartment. The woman finally looked up, still keeping one hand partially over her eyes. Her face was bright red and she looked like she might cry from embarrassment. Your apartment? She squeaked. This is apartment 4B, right? In the Riverside complex? Alex blinked. This is 4B, but it's the Oakwood complex. Riverside is across town. The color drained from her face. Oh no, oh no, no, no. The app. It must have. But the door was unlocked and the arrows on my screen said... She held up her phone with a shaking hand. Alex could see some kind of navigation app open on her cracked screen, showing a confusing mess of arrows and symbols that made no sense to him. I'm calling the police, he said, reaching for his own phone. Wait, please don't, the woman said quickly. I can explain. I know how this looks, but I swear I'm not some crazy person who breaks into people's apartments. Well, I mean, I guess technically I did break in, but it wasn't on purpose. Alex paused, his finger hovering over his phone screen. She did seem genuinely distressed rather than threatening, and she was right about one thing. If someone was going to break in with bad intentions, they probably would not do it while he was home and in the shower. You have 30 seconds to explain before I call for help, he said firmly. The woman took a deep breath and nodded. My name is Riley. I'm visiting my friend who lives in this complex. At least I thought she lived in this complex. She gave me this new rideshare app to try because regular GPS always gets confused in this area. The app was supposed to guide me right to her door. She held up her phone again, showing Alex the chaotic display. It kept telling me to go straight, then turn right, then go through this door. I thought it was weird that the door was unlocked, but the app seemed so confident. It kept showing these arrows pointing me forward. I was following them like an idiot, and they led me straight to your bathroom. Alex stared at her phone screen. Whatever app she was using looked like nothing he had ever seen before. The interface was glitchy and confusing, with arrows pointing in multiple directions at once. What kind of rideshare app tells you to walk into someone's bathroom? Alex asked, pulling his robe tighter. Riley's face somehow managed to get even redder. I don't know. I thought maybe it was showing me where the guest bathroom was or something. My friend said this place had a really modern setup with smart locks and everything. I figured maybe that's just how things worked here. Despite the bizarre situation, Alex found himself almost believing her story. She seemed way too embarrassed and confused to be making this up. And Chris had mentioned something about the building installing some new security system recently. What's your friend's name? Alex asked. Katie Chen. She lives in 4B, or at least she's supposed to live in 4B. Riley looked around the bathroom with growing confusion. This doesn't look anything like her photos. Alex felt a spark of recognition. Katie Chen? Short black hair, works at the design firm downtown. Riley's eyes widened with hope. Yes, you know her. She lives one floor up. Apartment 5B. Same layout as this place, which explains why you thought you were in the right spot. The relief on Riley's face was obvious. Oh, thank goodness. So I'm not completely losing my mind. Alex could not help but smile a little bit at her expression. Well, you did just walk into a stranger's shower, so the jury's still out on that one. Alex and Riley walked up the single flight of stairs to the 5th floor, with Alex pointing out the identical layout of each level as they climbed. When they reached apartment 5B, Riley knocked on the door with much more confidence than she had felt an hour earlier. The door swung open to reveal Katie, a petite woman with shoulder-length black hair and paint-stained fingers. Her face lit up when she saw Riley, then showed confusion when she noticed Alex standing behind her. "Riley, there you are. I was starting to worry." Katie pulled her friend into a hug before looking curiously at Alex. "And you are?" "This is Alex," Riley said, stepping back with a slightly embarrassed expression. "He lives in 4B, the apartment I accidentally walked into this morning." Katie's eyebrows shot up. "You walked into his apartment? How did you manage that?" Riley and Alex exchanged a look, and Alex could see Riley trying to decide how much of the story to share. "Remember that navigation app you sent me?" Riley began carefully. "Well, it had some technical difficulties." Katie invited them both inside, and over the next 10 minutes, Riley told an edited version of the morning's events. She left out the shower part entirely, just saying she had gotten confused and ended up at the wrong door. Alex played along, not mentioning any of the more embarrassing details. "That app was supposed to be foolproof," Katie said, looking genuinely apologetic. "My coworker recommended it. She said it worked great for her." "Maybe it works better for some people than others," Alex suggested diplomatically. "Technology can be unpredictable." Katie offered them both coffee, and what was supposed to be a quick introduction turned into a longer conversation. Alex found himself accepting the invitation to sit down, telling himself he was just being polite. But the truth was, he was enjoying talking to Riley. As Katie bustled around her kitchen, Riley and Alex continued their conversation from downstairs. She asked more questions about his work, seeming genuinely interested in the technical aspects of software development. "So when an app breaks like mine did," Riley said, "how long does it usually take to fix something like that?" "Depends on what's actually wrong," Alex explained. "If it's just a small bug, maybe a few hours. But if the whole system is designed wrong from the start, it could take weeks or months to rebuild properly." "Based on what I saw of your app," he continued, "I'd guess it's the second option. The whole approach seems flawed." Katie returned with 3 mugs of coffee and settled into her armchair. "Alex, have you lived in the building long?" "I keep meaning to meet my neighbors, but work has been crazy busy." "About 2 years now," Alex replied. "It's a good building, mostly quiet, though apparently the security system needs some work." He explained about his unlocked door, and Katie's face grew concerned. "That's definitely not supposed to happen. I specifically chose this place because of the security features." "I'm planning to talk to the building manager tomorrow," Alex said. "Want me to mention your concerns too?" "That would be great, thanks." As they talked, Alex noticed how comfortable Riley seemed in Katie's apartment. She curled up on the couch with her coffee mug, asking about Katie's artwork and commenting on the photos scattered around the room. There was something warm and genuine about the way she interacted with her friend. "So what's the plan for your visit?" Alex asked Riley. "How long are you staying?" "Just until Sunday," Riley said. "Katie's going to show me around the city, maybe hit some museums and galleries. I don't get to travel much with freelance work, so this is a nice break." "You should check out the tech museum downtown," Alex suggested. "They have a really cool exhibit on how everyday apps actually work. Might be therapeutic after this morning's experience." Riley laughed. "That actually sounds perfect. I need to understand technology better, so I stopped trusting broken apps." Katie looked between them with growing interest. "Alex, you seem to know a lot about the local attractions. Any other recommendations?" "Well, there's the Riverside walking trail if you like outdoor stuff. And if you're into coffee, there's this little place called Bean there that has the best pastries in the city." "I love walking trails," Riley said, perking up. "Back home I spend most weekends hiking." "Where's home?" Alex asked. "Portland. Great hiking there, but terrible weather most of the year." They discovered they both enjoyed outdoor activities. Both preferred small coffee shops over big chains, and both had a weakness for old science fiction movies. Katie watched their conversation with an amused expression, occasionally adding comments, but mostly just observing. "You know," Katie said during a lull in the conversation, "I was planning to take Riley to that art fair on Saturday, but I just remembered I have to work. Big client presentation on Monday that I'm nowhere near ready for." "Oh no," Riley said, looking disappointed. "We don't have to go. I can just hang out here while you work." "Actually," Alex said, surprising himself with his boldness, "I was thinking of checking out that art fair anyway. If you want company, I mean." "No pressure." Riley's face brightened. "Really, that would be great.
I hate going to those things alone, Katie smiled knowingly.
Perfect solution. Alex, you're officially Riley's tour guide for Saturday. They spent the next hour planning the weekend. Alex found himself volunteering to show Riley other parts of the city too. The tech museum on Friday afternoon, the art fair on Saturday, maybe the walking trail on Sunday morning before she had to head back to Portland. This is so much better than my original plan, Riley said. I was just going to follow Katie around and try not to get lost. Speaking of getting lost, Alex said, want me to show you how to use a normal GPS app? Something that won't lead you into random bathrooms? Riley blushed slightly at the reference to their first meeting. Yes, please. I clearly need all the navigation help I can get. Alex spent a few minutes showing her the basics of the standard map app on her phone, pointing out features like offline maps and voice directions. Riley proved to be a quick learner, asking smart questions and taking notes in her phone. You're a really good teacher, she told him. Much better than those online tutorials I usually try to follow. Thanks. I do some tutoring on the side, so I've had practice explaining technical stuff to non-technical people. As the afternoon wore on, Alex realized he had been in Katie's apartment for almost 3 hours. He should probably head home and get some actual work done, but he was reluctant to leave. I should let you two catch up properly, he finally said, standing up. Thanks for the coffee, Katie. Anytime, Katie replied. And thanks for helping Riley this morning, even though she hasn't told me the full story yet. Riley walked him to the door. Thanks for being so understanding about everything. And for not calling the police when you found a strange woman in your apartment. Thanks for not actually being a dangerous intruder, Alex replied with a grin. See you Friday afternoon? Say around 2 o'clock? It's a date, Riley said, then immediately looked flustered. I mean, not a date. Just a, you know what I mean. Alex smiled. I know what you mean. See you Friday, Riley. As he walked back downstairs to his own apartment, Alex found himself looking forward to Friday in a way he hadn't looked forward to anything in months. Friday afternoon came faster than Alex had expected. He found himself checking the clock every few minutes after lunch, wondering if 2 o'clock would ever arrive. When Riley knocked on his door at exactly 2, he was embarrassed to realize he had been waiting by the window like an eager teenager. Ready for some real navigation? He asked, grabbing his jacket. Riley held up her phone, showing the standard GPS app they had set up earlier. I practiced getting from Katie's apartment to the lobby and back. Only got lost twice. That's progress, Alex laughed. The tech museum turned out to be a perfect choice. Riley was fascinated by everything, asking questions about how touchscreens worked and why some apps crashed more than others. Alex found himself explaining concepts he had not thought about in years, seeing familiar technology through her fresh perspective. This is amazing, Riley said, standing in front of an exhibit about how smartphones connect to cell towers. I use my phone every day, but I never really thought about all the complicated stuff happening behind the scenes. Most people don't, Alex replied. That's kind of the point. Good technology should be invisible. They spent 3 hours wandering through exhibits, and Alex was surprised by how much fun he was having. Riley had this way of getting excited about things that made even boring technical details seem interesting. Can I ask you something? Riley said as they sat in the museum cafe afterward. How did you get into programming? Was it something you always wanted to do? Alex stirred his coffee thoughtfully. Honestly, I kind of fell into it. Started college as a business major, hated it, switched to computer science on a whim. Turned out I was actually good at it. Do you like it? Most days, yeah. There's something satisfying about solving puzzles, making things work better. What about you? Always wanted to be a designer? Riley smiled. Since I was about 12. I used to redesign movie posters for fun, make new covers for my favorite books, drove my parents crazy because I was always fixing perfectly good designs. Still doing that? Pretty much. Except now people pay me for it. Saturday's art fair was even better. They walked between booths, looking at paintings and sculptures, while Riley pointed out design elements Alex would never have noticed. She had opinions about color choices and typography that made him see the artwork in completely new ways. You're like a walking art education, Alex told her as she explained why one poster design worked better than another. Sorry, I get carried away sometimes. Katie says I overanalyze everything. Don't apologize. It's interesting. I like hearing how your brain works. They were looking at a booth full of landscape photography when Riley suddenly stopped walking. Alex, can I tell you something weird? After the week we've had, I'm not sure anything counts as weird anymore. Riley laughed, but then her expression grew serious. I've been thinking about staying longer. Like maybe a lot longer. Alex felt his heart skip, but tried to keep his voice casual. Yeah, what's making you consider that? I don't know. This city feels different than I expected, more right somehow. Back in Portland, I spend most of my time alone in my apartment working on projects for clients I never meet. Here, I've had more real conversations in 3 days than I usually have in a month. She paused, looking at a photograph of a mountain sunset. Plus, Katie mentioned there are several design firms here that work with freelancers. I could probably find enough work to make it viable. What about your life in Portland? Friends, family, your apartment? Riley shrugged. My lease is up next month anyway. Most of my friends have moved away for jobs or relationships. My family lives in Ohio, so I don't see them much either way. Honestly, there's not as much tying me there as I thought. They continued walking through the fair, but Alex's mind was racing. The thought of Riley staying made him happier than it probably should have, given they had only known each other for 3 days. Can I ask you something now? Riley said as they stopped to watch a street musician. Sure. Do you think I'm crazy for considering this? Making a big life decision based on a few good days in a new place? Alex thought carefully before answering. I think sometimes the best decisions feel a little crazy at first. But you're not talking about moving somewhere random. You have Katie here. You've already found potential work opportunities and you seem happier than when you first arrived. I do feel happier, Riley admitted. Lighter somehow. Like I've been carrying around stress I didn't even realize I had. That evening, they met Katie for dinner at a small restaurant downtown. Riley told her about the idea of staying longer, and Katie's face lit up with excitement. Really? You're actually considering it? Katie practically bounced in her seat. That would be amazing. I've been hoping you'd love it here. It's just an idea, Riley said quickly. I haven't made any decisions yet. But you're thinking about it seriously? Katie pressed. Riley glanced at Alex, then back at Katie. Yeah, I'm thinking about it seriously. Katie grinned knowingly. This wouldn't have anything to do with a certain helpful neighbor, would it? Both Alex and Riley blushed, which made Katie laugh out loud. I knew it, she said triumphantly. I could tell there was something happening when I saw you two talking yesterday. Katie, Riley warned, but she was smiling. What? I'm just saying. You've been happier the last couple days than I've seen you in years. And Alex, you've been grinning like an idiot since Wednesday. Alex rubbed the back of his neck sheepishly. That obvious, huh? To me, yes. But I've known both of you long enough to read the signs. After dinner, Alex walked Riley back to Katie's building. They took the long way, neither of them eager to end the evening. So, Alex said as they reached the front door, have you thought any more about the staying thing? Riley leaned against the building wall, looking up at the windows of Katie's apartment. Actually, yes. I called my landlord this afternoon and asked about breaking my lease early. Turns out there's a waiting list for my building, so it wouldn't be a problem. That sounds like you're leaning toward staying. I think I am. Riley looked at him directly. The question is whether that's a smart decision or just me getting caught up in vacation emotions. Alex stepped closer. Want to know what I think? Please. I think you should trust your instincts. You're smart, you're talented, and you know what makes you happy. If this place feels right, maybe there's a reason for that. Riley smiled. Even if part of that reason is a guy I met 3 days ago under very embarrassing circumstances. Especially if that's part of the reason, Alex said softly. They stood there for a moment looking at each other in the glow of the streetlight. Then Riley made a decision. Okay, she said, taking a deep breath. I'm going to do it. I'm going to stay. 3 months later, Riley stood in her new apartment, which happened to be just 2 floors up from Alex's place. She had boxes scattered everywhere, but for the first time in years, unpacking felt exciting rather than overwhelming. Through her window, she could see the same view Alex had from his apartment, just from a higher angle. Her phone buzzed with a text from Alex. Need help with those boxes? I have strong arms and low standards for pizza payment. Riley grinned and typed back, Pizza sounds perfect. But I should warn you, I have a lot of boxes. I've seen your organizational skills. I'm prepared for chaos. 20 minutes later, Alex knocked on her door carrying a toolbox and wearing an old t-shirt that had seen better days. Reporting for moving duty, he announced with a mock salute. You're a lifesaver, Riley said, letting him in. I think I underestimated how much stuff I actually own. They spent the afternoon unpacking and assembling furniture. Alex turned out to be surprisingly good with his hands, putting together her desk and bookshelf while Riley organized her design supplies and art materials. They worked well together, falling into an easy rhythm of cooperation. "So," Alex said, tightening the last screw on her coffee table, "any regrets about the big move?" Riley looked around her half-unpacked apartment, then at Alex sitting on her floor surrounded by instruction manuals and spare screws. "Honestly, no, not even a little bit. Not even when you realize you're stuck with me as a neighbor, especially not then," Riley said, sitting down next to him on the floor. "Having you around is definitely one of the perks." Over the past 3 months, their relationship had developed naturally and steadily. They had gone from friends to something more without any dramatic declarations or awkward conversations. It had just happened as easily as breathing. They had started having dinner together most evenings, usually in one of their apartments. Alex would come up after work, or Riley would head down to his place with takeout containers. They had explored more of the city together, found their favorite coffee shop, discovered a bookstore that stayed open until midnight. Riley had quickly found work with 2 local design firms, just as she had hoped. Her freelance career was actually going better here than it had in Portland. The creative community was smaller but more connected, and word of mouth traveled fast when you did good work. "Katie still can't believe how well this worked out," Riley said, leaning back against the couch they had just positioned by the window. "Katie's been pretty smug about the whole thing," Alex replied. "She keeps saying she knew we'd be perfect together from the moment she saw us." "About that?" Riley said, giving him a sideways look. "I have a confession to make." Alex raised an eyebrow. "Should I be worried?" Riley pulled out her phone and opened an app Alex had never seen before. "Remember that navigation app that led me to your bathroom? The one that was so broken it couldn't find its way out of a paper bag. The QuickPath Navigator disaster? Hard to forget. Well, I was talking to Katie yesterday about how we met, and she started laughing in this weird way. So I pressed her about it, and she finally admitted something." Riley held up her phone, showing Alex the app interface. But now that he looked at it more carefully, he could see it wasn't quite the same app he remembered from that first day. "Katie didn't send me a link to a real navigation app," Riley continued. "She made this herself. Well, she had her coworker from the tech company help her make it. It's basically a fake app designed to give wrong directions." Alex stared at the phone screen, then at Riley, then back at the phone. "Wait, what?" "The whole thing was a setup. Katie had been trying to figure out how to introduce us for months. She knew I was visiting. She knew you lived downstairs. And she thought we'd hit it off if we ever actually met. So the broken GPS, the wrong apartment, walking into my bathroom." Alex was trying to process this information, all carefully planned. Well, mostly planned. "Katie says she didn't expect the app to lead me quite so directly into your personal space. She thought I'd just end up knocking on your door at the wrong time." Alex was quiet for a long moment. Then he started laughing. Not just a chuckle, but deep, genuine laughter that made his whole body shake. "That sneaky, brilliant woman," he said when he could finally speak again. "She actually engineered our entire relationship." "Are you mad?" Riley asked, looking worried. "Because I was kind of mad at first. I felt like we'd been manipulated." "Mad? I'm impressed. Do you know how hard it is to write code that works exactly wrong in exactly the right way? Katie's coworker is a genius." Riley relaxed, smiling at his reaction. "So you're not upset that our romantic origin story is basically an elaborate prank?" "Are you kidding? This is so much better than a normal meeting story. How many couples can say they got together because of custom-designed faulty software? When you put it like that, it does sound pretty unique." Alex stood up and pulled Riley to her feet. "Come on, we need to go thank Katie properly for her matchmaking services." "Right now? I'm covered in dust and cardboard pieces. She won't care. Besides, I think we owe her dinner for pulling off the most complicated setup in dating history." They walked down to Katie's apartment, and Alex knocked on her door with exaggerated formality. "Katie Chen," he announced when she opened the door. "You are either a criminal mastermind or a romantic genius." Katie's face split into a huge grin. "Riley told you about the app, didn't she?" "She did. And I have to say I'm genuinely impressed by the technical execution. Don't give me too much credit. My coworker did most of the actual programming. I just provided the creative vision and inside knowledge of the building layout. Still, Riley said, it was pretty elaborate just to introduce two people. Katie shrugged. I'd been watching Alex mope around this building for months, and you'd been complaining about being lonely in Portland for even longer. It seemed like a waste to have two perfect people living in the same building without knowing each other existed. So you decided to play Cupid with faulty technology, Alex said. I decided to give fate a little push, Katie corrected. Besides, the app wasn't completely faulty. It did get Riley to exactly the right person, just through slightly unconventional means. Riley shook her head, but she was smiling. I can't believe you kept this secret for 3 months. I was going to tell you eventually. I just wanted to make sure things worked out first. No point in revealing my master plan if you two didn't actually like each other. Well, Alex said, putting his arm around Riley. Mission accomplished. But next time you want to set someone up, maybe just try a normal introduction? Katie laughed. Where's the fun in that? Besides, now you two have the best how we met story ever. You're going to be telling this at dinner parties for the rest of your lives. As they walked back upstairs to finish unpacking Riley's apartment, Alex realized Katie was absolutely right. They did have an amazing story, and more importantly, they had each other. So, Riley said as they reached her door, ready to help me unpack the rest of my life? I thought you'd never ask, Alex replied and followed her inside.